Well, hello and welcome to Stopbox here live from Resourcing Tomorrow. And I'm stood, of course, with George Roach, the CEO of Premier African Minerals. The last time I saw you was in Zim.
Yeah, that's
site.
right. It was in Zim, eh?
So you've come over. How long are you here for?
I'm here for the week.
Okay.
Got a lot of meetings and a lot of catching up to do and so on.
Okay. So you thought you'd pop into Resourcing Tomorrow and see a few people?
I did, and then I walked into you.
Indeed, you did.
What a pleasure.
Very grateful for your time, George. You had anything interesting happen while you've been here yet? Interesting chats or anything?
Yeah, there are. There's some very interesting chats.
Okay.
I think some good understanding, and I think of where we're going in this lithium space, especially spodumene.
Okay.
And I'm pretty encouraged.
Good.
Which I think is very pleasing.
Good.
So I think that where we are in the price cycle is pretty well where I thought we were going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I hope that my future forecasts are going to be just as correct, and
indeed,
that kind of says to me that I think that our future, being somebody who is actually on the verge of production, is actually very good.
Well, on the verge of production. I mean, your last. Was the interims or the results from the company? You said, I hope it's the last time I report interims without cash flow. So does that mean, are you still feeling that?
Yes, in terms of interims.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I was quite careful when I said that it was last time I wanted to report interims.
Yeah.
It would have been nice to have been able to report that December we had cash flow, but we're not going to be far off.
Right.
And I kind of have to pinch myself walking around here and thinking that this is end of November.
Yeah.
And I'm 2 months away.
Yeah.
And it's like it's been a lifetime in a year.
Sure.
It's been tough. It's been interesting.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of errors to deal with, a lot of things to fix. But I think that the process and the learning curve we've been through this year, what we now know that we didn't necessarily know a year and a half ago, is going to stand us in huge stead going forward.
Okay, good. Well, let's talk about some of the things that need to happen before that point. The ball mill. What's the status with the new ball mill, including its current location and whereabouts? Okay,
its current location is in on the East Rand in South Africa, in a town called Benoni, I believe, is where they're busy building it.
Okay.
The fabrication is going well. I do get regular updates on this. The latest on this is that the ball mill is expected to be loaded on its oversized, overweight trailer sometime late in December for movement immediately. We can move it on the roads again, which is, I think, 8th, 9th of January.
Right.
By that time, the civils will be complete.
Okay.
Cast in bolts, everything standing there, and it really should be a case of take it off the low bed, abnormal load truck, put it in position, put in the liners, connect the electricals.
So the civils are being made now. They'll be done before the 8th and 9th of January. Have you got any concerns about border issues again, customs, that kind of thing that you had before?
No, not to the extent that we've had before.
Right.
I think we've had a lot of experience with this thing.
Okay.
Our agents know what it is. We've worked out where the problems are likely to be.
Okay.
And I think I've got a very smart logistics operator involved with me. He works in my office now, and things have been getting better literally with each shipment that we do.
Okay.
So I'm reasonably happy.
So you don't have a confirmed date yet as such, but you're looking 8-9 January at the moment.
Yep, that looks like the rolling date.
Okay.
In terms of, I've been saying for a while now, I think it's the end of January, early February, that this thing will produce again.
Okay.
The biggest problem previously was that the circuit that had been provided simply did not mill enough product to the correct size to allow the flotation circuit to function. Right. It just wasn't enough.
So the mill was
wrong. It wasn't fit for purpose.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it wasn't only the mill, there were a few other things, but nevertheless.
Sure.
So it just wasn't, the screens weren't fit for purpose. There was quite a bit that was wrong with that.
And does that frustrate you that that's happened?
Immensely. Immensely.
Because you could argue it's part of the process of not doing a DFS, the kind of fast track you're going to get these teething problems.
Yeah, it is. But this was part of it that I did not anticipate.
Right, okay.
There were some other areas where I think I did anticipate there'd be optimization difficulties and issues, possibly with flotation reagents and things like that. I did not anticipate that the comminution circuit would be where the real heart of the problem lay initially.
Okay.
Now the ball mill does sort that out. The ball mill has got a lot of flexibility. We need 37.5 tons an hour milled correctly into the flotation circuit. This ball mill has a 55 ton per hour capacity. So there's a fair bit of flexibility in it, which is good. The other thing that was problematic is getting the right density of material. And we're putting in a thickener at this stage. That's our option. We elected to go with a thickener this time. We didn't before. I think it makes good sense, and I think most people involved in flotation come to the same conclusion. You should have it.
It would help with flotation.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
It gives flotation requires consistency of size, of flow, of density. It requires intimate monitoring of things like pH, reagents, and all of these things have to be intimately and consistently monitored and adjusted.
And you weren't able to achieve...
We couldn't. The flow wasn't right. Some of the sensors weren't working correctly. There were all sorts of issues associated with it. Now, there's a huge effort underfoot at the moment to recognize what all of this is. And this has been ongoing for some time during the year, and to remedy these things. And I'm pretty optimistic.
Because you were quite confident
this is going to be fine this time.
But you were quite confident the RHA mill would solve the problem, at least temporarily. And
correct.
It hasn't really worked.
It isn't the mill that didn't solve the problem. The mill came in, and the mill was intended to mill a certain tonnage. And the mill achieved the tonnage it was intended to mill. It was other issues associated with the circuit. It came down to some constant flow through sorters. It came down to a lot of inconsistency in the hydrosizer supply pumps. It came down to inadequate control on sizing of material coming out of the hydrosizer. There were a whole lot of other peripheral issues. The mill was able to deliver its 18 to 20 tons an hour. Had it had consistent and continuous feed coming from the rest of the circuit. So you had a lot of other issues that were identified at that time. Most of them, I believe, are now addressed and attended to. And I think probably the best news coming out of this, if I may just mention it, is that we've actually run a bit of material that we milled recently, run of mine ore straight out the pit, and not sorted, nothing fancy, picked it up with a front end loader, put it through the mills, took some of that material, unsorted, anything, and floated it. And we're sitting direct with no requirement for sorters or anything at all, with 5.7% Li2O.
Really?
Now, I've said all the way through, I'm in the public domain long time ago saying that in our lab we float, and we do. And again, we've done it. So is there any reason why this thing isn't going to work? Not that I'm aware of.
So you've got that 5.7% Li2O from taking our run-of-mine
straight run-of-mine material,
yeah,
bypassing all the sorters, coming into our laboratory, filling it and floating it.
But is there a difference between doing it in the lab and then doing it in real life? I mean,
well, it depends who you talk to.
Yeah.
When I talk to the OEM contractor for the flotation plant,
yes,
it's a company called Enprotec. Enprotec simply say to me, what you can do in the lab, we can do in our plant.
Right.
They're quite adamant. There's no difference.
It's the feed to the float that needs sorting.
It needs to be the right size, okay, mold to the right size, right consistencies, and so on.
Okay.
So they just say, if you can float it in the lab, you'll float it in the plant.
Okay.
So I'm very, very pleased with that, because provided the sorters work properly, as long as that works, This just says, I don't know where. I don't know what sort of concentrate we'll produce.
Well, in terms of the size, that's sold by the mill that's on its way.
Yep.
January. The consistency, but also the quality. You talked about the sorters. They need to do their job.
Yes.
But you're able to produce it with the raw material. So that's just really to get rid of gang material, as you refer to it. Is it stuff you don't want?
That's what the sorters want to do.
That kind of thing that comes up with it. I mean, they still need optimizing, don't they?
Yeah, look, it's more the what they call the serpentine and biotite rocks that tend to be on the outside of the pegmatites. Now, these are known, you know, it's common known in flotation that they're there, and provided it's within reason, this is not going to cause any huge major problem. The sorters should remove it, and if they do, well, when we hand sort material, like the sorter could, when we hand sort material and float that, we get spodumene grades that are over 7%.
Okay.
I mean, so I'm pretty comfortable on the ore body.
On the ore body,
the quality of it. Yeah,
is it the sorters are an issue though, aren't they? Because I mean, what if they can't do it? I mean, have they been tested before? I mean, it's not your responsibility. I know it's a third party that's installing them, but
look, the XRT sorters.
Yes.
The company that provides them is a very well-known company. They are a good manufacturer, etc., etc. And provided they are set up adequately and correctly, and look at the correct atomic densities of material, as people explain to me, they should be able to do a job.
Okay.
That's what they were specified for. They should be able to put 80 tons an hour through the two sorters, and they should be able to remove this. I think the facts of what we've done, though, is that even if they don't work, we're still going to produce spodumene. I think that's the most interesting part. And if they do work, we're going to produce a great grade of spodumene.
Okay, yeah.
In terms of the UV sorters, that's new technology.
Yeah, so that's sort of untested.
Yeah, you know, whether one should be looking at UV or some form of color sorting or whatever.
Yeah.
I think there's some evolution and some work and some development to be done there.
Okay.
In theory, when you scan, you can see a difference. If the sorters can manage the tonnages and can achieve that, wow, are we going to have a fabulous plant.
So when are those UV sorters, was that commissioning expected to be completed?
Well, it's an installation and commissioning. This is for the plant suppliers to provide. They must do it. They must get it done. They must fix all the peripheral bits and pieces, the bins that overflow and the belts that don't start when they should, and all of this kind of thing. They must fix all of this. And when they fix it all, wow.
Well, you said to me you'll be taking a very proactive role on the operational side of it. Yes. So, I mean, are you there, sort of cracking the whip and
I'm not there. I'm not there at the moment because we're kind of having the whip cracked here. But yes, I'll soon be back there. Right. The issue is that it's civils that are being built at the moment.
Okay.
And it's identified things that have got to be fixed, and the guys are working through this.
Okay.
Step by step.
And is it sort of routine procedure, do you think, for them to sort these out, or is it quite complex? Or can't you comment on that?
It's hard to comment on that. I think that it is procedurally a relatively simple thing to do. You literally start and you go step by step by step by step. And you make sure that every single thing works all the way. And that's what we have to do. And we have to do it on the mining side. We have to do it on the reagents. We have to do it all around.
Okay. Canmax, if we can. I know I asked you this before, but shareholders are concerned about the relationship with Canmax. How can you reassure? Can you say any communication that you've received from Canmax concerning the recent events and the timelines, and any potential cash fines or share conversions for non-deliveries, penalties that might be imposed?
Well, let me go through the details of that. But let me start by saying that we obviously have an open line of communication.
Okay.
Canmax have been a fantastic takeoff partner. We couldn't have asked for more. They are helpful, they're supportive, they do everything that I couldn't have asked for better. The interest that Canmax has and our interest in this project is to get spodumene and to get as much as we can as quickly as we can. So our interests are completely aligned.
Okay.
Completely aligned. Canmax have options entirely at their disposal. And they can elect, if we don't deliver at the end of the month, they can elect to ask us for a payment.
Yeah.
Or they can elect, if we can't make a payment in cash, they can elect to take a payment in shares. The share price is fixed at a bottom of 0.32. So the shares can't be issued at below that.
Mm-hmm.
They can also elect to do nothing and to effectively approve this for future delivery. Now, the way our relationship has been set up is that there isn't a default situation here. This isn't a case of a default and you must come and pay us X, Y, Z. This isn't what it is. In the event that we don't have cash, or cash is utilized for other things or whatever it may be, and or we don't have shares, they can ask us to call a special general meeting and we can go to shareholders and ask for authority. Okay, so one can do that. In the event that all of these options fail, then at the end of a period of 18 months, Canmax would have the right to deal with whatever spodumene, pre-purchase spodumene has not been supplied and convert that value into a direct interest in Premier African, in the Zulu project, not in Premier African Minerals, into the Zulu project. And we've agreed a valuation on the Zulu project of 200 million US. So that would be the ultimate fallback
So it's all known quantities then, isn't it, what we're talking here? Yeah, there's no surprises.
There's no surprises.
The relationship, though, is obviously very important. And I mean, I think in all relationships, marriages, girlfriends, what have you, communication is key.
Yes.
So, I mean, are you in open communication? Are you taking a very, as well as being very proactive on the operational side of it, it is important to manage that relationship with Canmax. And
look, we are completely open in our communication with Canmax. I'm desperately embarrassed personally. As a company, we're embarrassed at what has happened. I'm not happy about it in the slightest. And Canmax know that those are my feelings. I'm desperately concerned to get this done and get spodumene produced and sent. More than anything else, it's what they want, it's what I want.
So, I mean, they're on the end of the phone if you need them, if they need you.
I can phone their commercial director anytime.
Okay.
The man is incredibly approachable and helpful.
But it's a very high priority for you to keep that relationship. So, yeah, that's the best thing. A joint venture, George. Anyone is that on the cards? I know you probably can't answer that. Has anyone suggested that?
No, other than some shareholder comment that I have. I'm not quite sure what one means by that.
Well, the question I got sent was actually have key shareholders pushed for a joint venture with Canmax? Has it been muted in sort of?
I've had comments that have come back to me, but I'm not in any discussion with anybody in regard to a joint venture, as it were.
Okay.
I don't think that's where I'm 2 months away. And it might be a tough 2 months, but I'm 2 months away. This is the end of November. I've got December and I've got January.
But we have heard this before, haven't we?
I know.
I don't want to be having the same conversation in 2 months, George.
Absolutely.
You're pretty confident it will be a different conversation in 2 months?
I'm going to move heaven and earth.
Okay.
I am going to, if I've got to get down there and start breaking rock personally, I'll do it.
Okay.
It could be an interesting photograph, that one.
It could be, yeah. So really the key dates you're looking at is Q1. It's 8th, 9th of January
Q1,
for that.
Q1.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole thing is all Q1. I'm hoping to start giving updates of other progress at site. There'll be other trucks that are moving, other structures that are moving into place that are starting within the next week or so.
Okay.
There's a bit of a hiatus at site right now while we try and work on civils. But things like the thickener is on its way.
Okay. Well,
a lot of hard work.
Thank you for that. I'm just checking I've covered. We are obviously live, so the questions might come in, but I'm not sure they will. Just another one someone sent was regarding the Zim government. Would they provide additional support to accelerate production, increase local employment, and promote energy initiatives? And And yet we were talking about that site visit, weren't we?
I think we're pretty unique in that the Zulu mine does not employ a single expat. From the general manager down, everybody is a Zimbabwean.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, I don't think there are many other places that can claim this. So we've gone out of our way to be supportive in country. We've had fabulous support from the community within the area. We have, I think, a great relationship at the moment. And we're going to keep it. We're going to do whatever we have to do to keep that. Are we going to see further development in Southern Zulu? Well, I'm dead keen to pursue that.
Okay. Final question, and I'm leaving it to the end because you probably hate me for it.
No, wait.
The RUS, the RUS, the resource update statement. It's got to be something you want to get out to give, I suppose, at least Canmax confidence of what they probably know, but the market confidence of what is there. Is it a case of you need to do more drilling to get more data for JORC alliances?
No, not necessarily. No.
When can you throw shareholders a bone on that?
What I'm planning to do, and the planning is in progress at the moment. We are planning to start looking at the elements of the resource as we have it. Remember, this resource covers quite a significant area, and it's outside of what we're mining at the moment. There's a south pit that we're developing right now, but there's also a northern sections, there's a southeastern section, there are various others. And we intend to start compiling a series of releases that describe where we are, that what we're doing, leading up to an understanding of the overall resource and so on. So yes, I'm conscious of it. It isn't the case of I've got to do more drilling to go and do it. I might just add on that side of it. Then we've been doing a lot of work in the EPO just recently, and we've had a hell of a lot of guys wildcatting within our EPO, and they've done a lot of our basic exploration for us. So we have pegmatite exposed all over the place, and it looks as though we've got a bigger follow on exploration area and targets to come than I had anticipated.
I mean, the reason I ask you, the reason people are interested is because you know what's there. I mean, I've been there, I'm not a geo, but I've seen what's there. We do these interviews here. People often think that this is completely live. You're not giving the sight of any of these questions, but people often think there's something being contrived here, and until they've seen like the official RNS out, that would give them confidence. You appreciate that sometimes the market needs that official RNS. We have X resource.
Absolutely.
And you want to get that out.
I absolutely understand it, and it's been a frustration for me that I haven't actually been able to get to that point. But I'm conscious of it now. There's a good time now to deal with that and to start getting that better understood.
Final question, if you can talk on it, cash position or how long the current cash will run for?
I hesitate to get involved in the cash side of it. That's something that needs to go out RNS wise.
Of course,
and I need to get that in the public domain in other ways.
I have to ask it. I'm very transparent. People send me the questions. I want to get the questions answered. Thank you so much for taking the time again, George Roach. So good to see you again.
You as well.
And
Thank you.
Good luck with the rest of your time here in the UK. But for now, at Resourcing Tomorrow here in London with CEO George Roach of Premier African Minerals. Thank you very much. Stay tuned on Stopbox for more.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stopboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.